right click the links to join channel here over at subscribers. I got a mailbox if you want to mail me some comics, beanies, pocket knives, or whatever. Thanks for the Dark Knight Returns from Anonymous. No, there's no name, even a pseudonym or anything. And the Bible I got the other day. Very, very cool. So, you know, it's 2023. Yikes, my guy. It's current year. Getting canceled in comics in current year is not quite the same if it was circa 1988 or something. This is mainstream comics is not looking too good, and that's not just me saying this, you know, because they're on the opposite side. It's like you can look at mainstream comics; it's not anything what it used to be. So some idiots, Dan DiDio, John De La Rose, canceled by the chubby but still adorable cosplayer Renfamous, and now this idiot decides to chime in. Soy people are really upset by diversity of thought. They have to censor everything. There's a comment in here about some guy saying like, yeah, we can't tolerate the intolerant or something, and we have to cancel them. It's like, for going on a YouTube show and talking to somebody, that's you have to cancel somebody for that. Like, you're what is the left wing anymore? Like, they're the worst people on earth. So I don't know if perhaps you remember Renfamous. She was a cosplayer. And the thing I discovered is that Anti-Comicsgate needs Comicsgate. The problem is that Comicsgate is pretty well established, and it's spreading beyond YouTube, the DLive, Odyssey, and Rumble. It's even starting to spread out from Indiegogo and Kickstarter into Fund My Comic, and I think there's another one out there too, which is, that is the way to go. If somebody can get a few people together to set up a website and process payments and just do your own. Maybe that's what Fund My Comic is. I don't know who runs that or something. But like, that's the way to go, is to have a true alternative free speech crowdfunding place to sell whatever you want to sell. Yes, absolutely. And like, it shouldn't just be comics, it should be an alternative marketplace. Gab is Gab and Gab Pay and Gab Marketplace is that stuff is coming together, and Gab has they have some money behind them. So what happened is JDA is a sci-fi comic writer, and he talked to Dan DiDio on his YouTube channel, and that shouldn't be a big deal. But apparently JDA, who himself is a person of color, is marginalized and oppressed and disenfranchised as a pox, walks, furry, otherkin, or whatever. I mean, he's literally a multimillionaire, but he's still disenfranchised and oppressed. That's just how it works. So someone, and Dan DiDio, I don't know what his ethnicity is. He actually looks like a POC as well. So it's kind of weird. Everyone gets to be a POC these days. So someone who has been attacked and banned from a con, that he had to sue the convention to get that resolved. But the con didn't have much money. So all they could pay him for was like $5,000 or something, and an apology for just being total bleeding pussies. Anyway, that, you know, and the thing is, like, how did the Wu Flu affect these people selling comics? It's like, some of them tried to go out on YouTube and do like the Comicsgate thing, and they got on there for a few times. They didn't realize it's not gonna just take off on Joe Glass got out there, and who's that great big fat lady? She got out there, and they did put these horrible videos together. And it's like, yeah, you're going to have to do that for a few months, like a video every day or every other day, and kind of find your footing on there, and not just like do a video every 2 weeks and then do 5 videos and then give up on it. Anyway, so they talk about comics and the industry being totally FUBAR, which it very clearly is. And Dan is still in the Matrix a little bit, but he's kind of feels like he's coming close to seeing what is going on. So Dan has this mistaken belief that I hear left and right wing people repeat without thinking about. Oh, let me show you the Renfamous thing. So they keep saying this thing that comics and movies are motivated by the bottom line of financial interest. By now, even if you're on the left, you have to look at that and go, wait a minute, that just doesn't make sense. There's all this evidence to the contrary. They're saying that the woke stuff is just a smart business decision. Look at the movies, the woke movies that have come out and failed. Look at the comics that have come out and failed. Is it fair to say listen, whether you're on the left or right, it's like, I know if you're on the left, well, you're not listening to this, but you can look at those things and go like, yeah, those movies are, they have what most people would call woke themes. They're not selling it. And I like immediately they want to argue about these definitions. It's like, I can break that down for you. I've explained it many times on Twitter, but like, is it fair to say that they're not performing as what one would expect? They're losing money, in fact. Those are woke films and they're losing money, and that's the audience perception. Like, the actual definitions don't matter, but that's the audience perception. And they go, yeah, but businesses just chase the bottom line. Then you're saying that the people who own these billion-dollar industries are run by idiots. And that's just not the case. So eventually they're going to understand that the motive is ideology and not money, or maybe they won't understand it. Honestly, we're not going to be able to save everyone. If companies wanted money, they just put hot, skinny, blonde people in movies and comics because it sells. They don't. Money is not their effing motive. I know I repeat this, but so many people out there are just parodying these stupid lines. You show them these woke bombing movies and comics, and they just can't reach the logical conclusion that globalists are motivated by ideology. Anyway, the usual Twitter idiots are not touching grass. They're triggered by two people on a YouTube channel talking about comics and pop culture. That's a threat to them. That it's like, you just don't have to watch JDA's interview. And something about JDA is friends with Vox Day, who's a comic book writer and sci-fi writer, and they're vaguely right of center, and they need to be censored. The thing is, I was checking out some of these anti-CG people, the Ren Mags and some of the others. I hadn't seen them for years, but their Twitter has not grown. Ren is 13,000 on Twitter, and Mags is 40,000, and they both have been stuck there for several years, because anti-CG needs CG to be something. You look at Ren, and she's a cosplayer, and I'm not petty. Her costumes are very well done, but there are a ton of cosplayers out there, and the whole Wooflu thing, shutting people down for 3 years, has kind of made put the I guess they're coming back now, I suppose. But she legitimately does like comics, and one of her claim to fame was being against Comicsgate, and then was the Vic Mignogna thing, and just kind of being a left winger in general. And there's this clique of Twitter SJWs who don't make comics. They're not in the industry, but from like 2015 to 2020, they were obsessed with Comicsgate and one Richard C. Myers, the Hugo Boss guy who sat in his car and with a cell phone and talked about comics. That, like, literally that's all he did. Myers has just been steadily making comics for years. Hey, if you want to send me his comics, I think he is a fantastic writer. He doesn't even get involved in the drama. So they switched over to EVS, who absolutely loves the attention. I have the Jawbreakers 1 and 2 and Iron Sights 1. So if you want to send Iron Sights 2, if someone has it. The thing is, they switch all their attention over to EVS, who flourishes in the attention. He absolutely loves it, and he is very good at playing with SJWs. He is a lot of fun to listen to. And the hysterical thing is that the left has been the left considers him far right because he jokes around with them, and they're insane. Like, they will tell you the medications they're on. They will tell you all their disorders they have. Okay, so it sounds like you have some mental health issues. How dare you say that? It's in your bio that you're taking all these meds and you have all this dissociative, borderline, whatever kind of stuff. You're saying you have mental health issues. Anyway, so these anti-Comicsgate people have been focused on Comicsgate, but it's bizarre because Comicsgate sells comics or makes money from YouTube or Subscribestar. Even for channels like this, we do it because we enjoy it, because, I mean, there's not enough money, but it does still pay a few $100s a month. It's getting a little bit of money for doing something we enjoy. So it's like a win-win. You'd be doing it for free, at least for a while. And the comics people are selling their stuff and they're running a business. They're doing something they enjoy, and it's paying off for everyone involved on the YouTube side of the equation, this Comicsgate Phantom Menace side of the equation. I mean, Comicsgate, it's a different thing from the anti-CG because Comicsgate is a positive movement. It's a business of selling indie comics, or if you're just a YouTube channel associated with it, you're selling entertainment, but you are at least getting paid for it, and it's a growing movement. And these anti-CG people don't have anything like that because they're not for anything. They're just against CG. I don't think Mags even writes comics anymore. It was pointless. They didn't sell. Left-wing comics in general maybe peaked in 2015, has been declining ever since, both indie and mainstream. Some of them did copy the Comicsgate model and open up their own sites. I think Zoop was, and a couple others. Was that Ron Mars did Zoop? Oh, anyway, all their accusations against JDA and Vox and EVS, they're just literally lying. I saw some of them where they're accusing these people of crimes. And you look at them like, you're going to have a source. If you're accusing somebody of a crime, it's like, it's something I heard. It's like you're trying to destroy somebody's character and reputation, a defamatory statement of fact, and you're just like casually tossing out, well, they're the political enemy, so I can accuse them of some malum in, say, crime against reputation, something absolutely horrific. that's an evil thing you're doing. Oh no, they're like Republicans or something. So I can accuse them of just the most horrific things I can think of. You, you know you're the bad guy here, right? You understand? No. EVS actually has bodies buried in his backyard, and several. I'm just the nonsense kind of stuff they say. Anyway, the thing is, they try to do their own kind of thing, coming on YouTube and open up their own platforms. They don't have the same network as Comicsgate because they all hate each other. So it's harder for them to cross-pollinate because they'd rather sodomize each other and stab each other in the back. And don't let me forget B. Clay Moore and his comic book, Big Hawaiian Richard, the Kickstarter comic from 2015. I just bounce. Every once in a while I kind of remember that comic because the art for it looks so fantastic. It's like, that really is a bummer that he didn't get that thing out the door. But what happened with that is he took the money from people and he kept the money and he never actually produced the comics, which is a brilliant business plan. Guys, I also have a comic that I'm never gonna actually deliver. You can support it on Subscribestar. Hey, I tell you what, if I get enough money, I actually would make a comic. It'd be called Bianca Fights the Zombies. It'd be about a bunch of trans furry otherkins and her crew of alcoholic, stoner, 40-year-old attorney burnouts who hunt down furries, SJWs, and occasionally zombies. Anyway, it's funny because like I can write a comic that has everything in it that SJWs claim they want, like, you know, trans people, diversity, except like you got to make it funny. You got to make them all racist, sexist, Hugo Boss types, but, you know, more libertarian, pot smoking. And believe it or not, it was actually based on people I actually know. Honestly, it is a funny comic, but it's way too degenerate for the far right audience that I have now. So it's like it would be marketed to the wrong audience. So it's just kind of no point to it. Anyway, these anti-CG people are sort of lost now. B. Clay Moore's been on Twitter for like over a decade and he has 7,000 followers. I'm going to have that in a few months. He talks about sports and gets ignored. If I didn't keep getting kicked off, I would have had 50,000 followers by now. They let me get to 2,000 and then they just kicked me for, I don't know, some nonsense they accused me of saying. These, I actually got kicked off like 3 times for saying that the Epstein type of stuff should get the ultimate punishment after legal due process. And apparently the old Twitter would kick you off for that, you know, like. Anyway, so these idiots all get triggered by Dan saying that maybe the comics are getting too woke and very much too BLT. But follow me here. The comics aren't selling. That's the bottom line. These SJWs are not buying comics. They always say, shut up and take my money when some SJW comes up with a plan. It's like the money never actually materializes. That's the difference between Comicsgate, us and them, is Comicsgate, the money does materialize. If people say they're going to support you, they will support you. I'm getting stuff all the time, and, you know, small scale for a small channel, but like these people are selling comics. They're selling to an audience that is supporting them. It's a network that actually works. Anyway, these people are bitching on Twitter about Comicsgate talking to people, but they won't actually buy the BLT vagina-powered comics. All they do is tell us to finger a woman while going outside and touching grass. I literally have done that over the summer. It was great, but it didn't make their comics any better. They just don't sell. They're all woke cancer. Diversity doesn't sell. People hate diversity. Even SJWs hate diversity. They say they love it, but they never actually pony up the cash for it. They're so bad that the SJWs don't even buy the comics that they say they want or watch the movies they say they want. It's so bad that they made a meme about it, about, oh, I never wanted the thing afterwards. Let me find this guy's comment. Oh, it's actually right here. So he says, good for them. It's tough to lose a business relationship, but it's worse to lose your self-respect. I don't understand what these guys think is going to happen to their creative relationships when they get on the intolerance train. So Shabloom is saying that they're going to cancel them if they get on the intolerance train. They're going to be canceled if they talk to people and have diversity of thought. If they talk to somebody on a YouTube channel, Heather, Antos, this Jamal Igel guy, Renfamous, and whoever this idiot is, they're going to cancel these people for talking to somebody. So aren't you the intolerant ones? Like, don't you want to hear both sides of the perspective? We don't need to hear anything from Comicsgate. You know, Comicsgate is a very loose association of people who are just trying to sell comics. Anyway, these pussies are angry at the messenger, who are just saying, yeah, these comics, if you just get out there and you say, yeah, the comics are not selling like they used to, but yikes, my guy, bad take. Yikes, that's just, they literally have come out and said that the representation in the comics, the use of the comics as pushing a narrative, a message, is more important than the sales. They literally have come out and said that a few times. You look at them like, this is a business, right? Like you're selling the comics, the business has to pay for itself. All these expenses, like it doesn't. The company's insured; they can be looted. The insurance just goes up or gets canceled, right? Right, you know that, right? So the customers are just subsidizing the criminals to the point where the items get so expensive to cover the cost of the increased insurance that the store has to close down. No. Those Walgreens in Oregon, Washington, and California, and those other stores, they're just closing for other reasons. Nothing to do with the looting. Because there's like actually hundreds of stores in those looting cities that have closed. No, that's fine. That's fine. What's funny is oh God, what's this chick? I actually screen capped it because I thought she was going to delete it. This chick's in Comics A. She was part of the Heather McDonald, I think. I bet she deleted it too. I do have a screen cap. I can pull it up. Part of the Whisper Network, and she has a tweet, and she says something about the stores closing, like the Walgreens closing. Because people get their prescriptions there. And a lot of like elderly are taking the bus or they're walking to these places. And these stores are legitimately closing. And yes, they're closing because of looting. Don't be effing. Obviously, you can't cover the retail markup. The way that works is like one item is like a 5% markup. So to cover it, just to break even, you have to sell 20 equivalent units to cover that. It's just ridiculous that you cannot have that much product loss and run a business. So she had a comment where she says something like that. She goes, "I'm not like a right winger or anything, but these Walgreens closing down is, like people really depend on those stores, and now they're, the retail deserts and the pharmacy deserts. Like, yeah, that's really happening. Those stores aren't going to come back." And it took balls for her to say that. And she's, I'm assuming, a pretty far left-wing nut job to say like, "Oh, hey, the consequences of our actions, the stores are leaving the cities. Like, where are those prescriptions going to come from?" It's a good question, buddy. Hey, talk to Gavin Newsom. Anyway, these people are. My point is, they're angry at the messenger who just says this stuff. There's a lot of people on Twitter who drive these people up the wall, but it's like the left. Some of the leftists are starting to see this kind of stuff themselves. So they fired EVS because of political discrimination. They essentially created a hostile work environment. They should have made him, DC, right? They should have made him chief editor. He could have saved comics. If I was Marvel, I would have called up Richard C. Myers. I would say, "Hey, we want to hire you." And Myers would be like, "For what, a writer or something? For a comic?" "No, as like chief boss of Marvel Comics division." Would he have improved it? Yeah, he would have had to fire all the writers and the editors and replace them. It's like there's no loss in that. And Marvel Comics would have turned around. It would have been that easy to hire him or EVS. EVS is pretty well happy with YouTube, but you know what I'm saying. It's like to firing him, and you look at but the DC and Marvel sucks. It all sucks. It's all crap, and the sales reflect that. Yeah, well, we got rid of the wrong thinkers. You're insane. It's not about the money. It's about ideology. Anyway, let's see what these... I don't know if I can check the comment. 75 comments. Holy cow. People are fired up about this. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Returns. I will actually going to read that right now. And I'll see you guys all next episode.